How's it everyone, Jay here. In this video expedition covering part 5 of the Earth-Mars conflict series, we'll examine the post-UN-MCR war interplanetary naval military forces consisting that of the Earth-Mars coalition and the outer planetary militant factions leading into the Expanse Seasons 5 and 6 Free Navy conflict in universe timeline years of 2355 through 2359, extending the interplanetary armed confrontation to over that of a decade in the mid-24th century struggle for control of the system and extrasolar protomolecule technologies. At the start of the Expanse Season 4, 1 year after the UN-MCR war ceasefire armistice, it's the year 2354, and the post-conflict planetary nations of Earth and Mars fell into a system-wide economic recession with massive war debts and inflation, while the outer planets face a humanitarian refugee crisis with widespread food shortages. 5 major trade stations either destroyed or in states of disrepair from large combat engagements, and a dozen more ports and outposts damaged or disabled, leaving many interplanetary corporations on the brink of financial disaster. The newly formed Earth-Mars coalition restricted access to the Sol Ring entrance through a military blockade until they could ascertain what destroyed the galaxy-spanning civilization that created the wormhole network a billion years prior, connecting 1,300 other star systems with habitable planets. Additionally, this placed more strain on the Martian-based planetary terraforming industry planned for the next century that in a matter of years or months could become obsolete when the blockade is lifted for mass colonization of the new worlds with breathable atmospheres. In response, MCR defense spending was curtailed as inflation impacted the Martian monetary trade system, and the United Nations Navy was no longer a Cold War adversary, allowing the MCRN to downsize large and expensive weapons platforms. The 98 MCRN ships damaged and placed in auxiliary repair reserves were instead dismantled and scrapped for parts. Additionally, 92 older naval vessels designated for overhaul and refits were also scheduled for salvage. The pre-interplanetary conflict Mars Republic Navy of 635 ships had been, over a 6-year time frame, reduced by a staggering 46%, with a frontline active ship strength of some 325 naval vessels. The post-war United Nations Navy contained 1,480 ships, with an additional 635 repaired vessels being designated as inactive reserves, joining the rapidly growing mothball fleet over the next 5 years. In 2356, at the start of Season 5, the UNN had 1,115 active naval vessels. This is a staggering 64% reduction in frontline ships, that of a pre-conflict 3,175 fleet strength number. UN naval doctrine underwent a substantial shift to mirror that of their former MCRN rival, based around large, heavily armed capital warships capable of carrying multiple auxiliary escort ships, performing a battle carrier role, deploying a task force to cover multiple mission profiles, utilizing the flexibility of a mobile ship-based platform. Thus, more of the older ships would be cycled out of service as the new Xerxes-class battleships were commissioned out of the dry docks and shipyards. At the start of Season 6 in the year 2358, the UNN fields 3 of the new capital warships, with 2 additional Xerxes-class under the final production phases, designed to patrol more areas of the solar system utilizing more advanced ships in fewer numbers. This force reduction by the United Nations of Earth and Luna and the Mars Congressional Republic ushered in the end of 150 years of Cold War tensions and conflicts, and would prop up new adversaries directly empowered by the UN-MCR war, arming Belter and outer planetary factions to fight proxy wars for the interplanetary superpowers. This created a power vacuum at war's end, filled by the separatist Free Navy factions' growing popularity in the outer solar system as multiple OPA trade stations lay in ruin in the wake of the interplanetary war, rallying the majority of Belter and OPA factions towards the banner of Marco Inaros. Additionally, high-ranked officials in the Martian Navy organized a rogue military group funneling defense assets and frontline warships to the Free Navy as an armed organized resistance to distract Earth and Mars, allowing rogue military separatists to implement a naval coup for the entire MCRN 3rd Fleet, seceding to Laconia, forming an independent military regime with access to ultra-advanced protomolecule platforms in Laconian orbits, millions of years ahead of 24th century technology. The Martian Navy would be further diminished by losing the 3rd Fleet's 54 warships along with 25 additional support vessels from the military separatists, reducing the overall number of frontline ships to that of 246 during the height of the Free Navy conflict at the end of Season 5 in-universe year of 2358. Additionally, towards the end of Season 4 in the year 2354, the Mars Laconian Expeditionary Force deployed scientific research missions to the planet ring system 673. 6 months later in Season 5, with a new Secretary General and Earth-Luna UN administration, openly endorsed the Martian Coalition access for full-scale colonization of Laconia to stimulate the MCR economy, with a few hundred Mars core merchant and transport vessels are now performing logistical trade duties in Ring System 673 for the newly established planetary nation of Laconia, directed by some of the smartest minds and most well-connected leaders from the Martian Republic. A few 100,000 Martian colonists now consider Laconia their home planet, migrating over the past 4 years through the galaxy-spanning Ring System wormhole network. With the Free Navy now consolidating outer planetary and belter forces armed with post-war surplus weapons and up-armored gunships supplied through Earth and Mars, now prolonged the interplanetary war into a decade at the start of the Free Navy conflict between the combined fleets of the Earth-Mars Coalition and Belter OPA factions now under the control of Marco Inaros, bolstered by MCRN vessels designated for decommissioning funneled through the Rogue Martian fleet, equipping the Free Navy with an additional force of 30 advanced frontline naval gunships upgraded with Laconian stealth drive signature modifications. Furthermore, Admiral Duarte supplied the Free Navy with high-tech specialized spotter and surveillance vessels, enabling continuous asteroid attacks targeting the inner planets and launching over 200 rocks in a 6-month blitz campaign. In the face of this Free Navy resurgency, the depleted navies of the Earth-Mars Coalition withdrew their fleets to the inner orbits to defend the homeworld from this new form of asteroid warfare. Only the fortified naval bases of Titan and Callisto remained under interplanetary control, as the majority of outer planetary and belter stations joined or were subjugated by the Free Navy forces. In 2359, 9 months after the battle for Soulgate, during which millions of Earth and Mars nationals living in the outer planetary colonies made desperate attempts to reach Coalition-controlled space or military bases, as thousands of interplanetary merchant vessels were abandoned or captured by Free Navy and Belter factions in the outer orbits, as a direct result of the largest colonial refugee crisis in solar system history. At the start of Season 6, the Mars Republic Navy consisted of 238 active warships and support vessels. The United Nations Navy had an operational fleet strength number of 1,065, with an additional 325 activated reserve ships that had been repaired and brought back into service after the UN-MCR war. This combined naval coalition of 1,618 ships deployed 400 to hold the critical fleet bases on Titan and Callisto, with an additional 120 long-range supply and support vessels, and the core fleets of 1,100 ships defending the inner orbits of Earth and Mars. At the start of Season 6 in the mid-year of 2358, the Free Navy commanded by Marco Inaro fields a primary fleet of 140 ships, of which 32 are advanced MCRN warships, escorted by heavily armed, retrofitted frigates and patrol boats with military-grade weapon systems consolidated from the UN-MCR war stockpiles through the logistical support of the MCRN's 3rd Tactical Fleet's covert operations. Additionally, 56 Belter and OPA factions fly under the Free Navy banner, consisting of an additional 1,129 auxiliary defense vessels. At the apex of the Free Navy power, controlling over 70% of the asteroid belt, outer planet orbits, and trade stations, within a span of 4 years was able to collapse the planetary economies of Earth, Mars, and the outer planets, laying claim to the solar system while holding the combined fleets of the UN and MCRN at bay, with hundreds of asteroid attacks, all orchestrated by Admiral Duarte's breakaway Martian military faction through asymmetrical warfare and clandestine logistical operations on a scale never before witnessed in solar system history, manipulating the will of millions encapsulated by a century of oppression to achieve a greater strategic goal through the Free Navy conflict, which will be part 6 in the next episode. And for parts 1 through 5, check out these playlists with over 20 Expanse content videos. Yamsane, Belta, Dusta, and Inyaloda. If you enjoyed this content and want to help the channel grow, the best thing you can do is share the links to your fellow sci-fi Bretna, Sista, and Copains, and the kind like Z-Scribe, the show Saxton. Peace out.